Today I will be talking about The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll by Turner Cassidy. Turner Cassidy was born the 12th of January of 1929 and passed away on the 26th of July 2009 at the age of 80. Alan Turner Cassidy was born into quite the talented family musically. He grew up on a farm and he was very successful in school. He attended high school at Jackson's Old Central High School in Hydes County, Mississippi. After Turner graduated, he went on to Millsaps Community College before he went on to Stanford. But not long after he graduated with a master's from Stanford, he was drafted into the Korean War, where he was stationed in Puerto Rico. And for a couple of years, he taught English to some of the Puerto Ricans. Before he went back to college under the GI Bill, this all happened. The GI Bill helps veterans get funding so they can go back to college for school. He went to Columbia University, based in New York, and under his professional name, he took out Allen and replaced it with just Turner, which is his mother's maiden name. And he kept his father's last name of Cassidy, making Turner Cassidy. Turner's father, Allen Davenport Cassidy, was born in 1903. He was a musician both for piano and saxophone, and he worked at the family-owned Cassidy Paint and Wallpaper Company and at the B&V Lumber Company. But when Turner was around 5 years old, Allen passed away at the cause of death, which is unknown or undocumented. Turner's mother, Dorothy, also had quite the musical background. Dorothy was a violinist and a founding member of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, where she was the founding member from 1928 all the way up to 1970. She retired, and for the next 29 years, she lived in Atlanta with her son Turner before passing away at the age of 95 in 1999. The edition in which this poem was released was in the Official Poetry Magazine, December 1977 edition, which at the time cost only $1.75. I drink no potion to the double life I bring, no goatish hint of the exotic. Have no weight of guilt to offer, have, for now, no chilling drive of the fanatic. My fleshpots give them credit for perception, knowing me as the slumber that I am, as I know them for their applied corruption. What we are to what we are we come, and only too prepared to settle for it. Commerce comforts in these middle years, once one has learned the young, do not abhor it. Curious that hard cash and that sneers went out and where youth and eagerness did not. The wholeness is in the age is antiseptic. It is what one had instead of hide. It is also the reason, not now cryptic, that today I buy and do not plead. Part capital, my cautious portion sippers. Holy venture, there's the surgeon's blade. It cuts both ways, to seats the Jack the Ripper. You see, Cassie uses three verse lines in his poem. He has the lines of what we are to what we are we come, which pokes fun at the theme of duality, which talks about the demon which is inside of him. There's also repression as a theme. This is where he says, I bring no goatish hint to the exotic. Could indeed be talking about him repressing the demon inside of him being Jekyll, and this adds the duality theme back into it. The narrator is Jekyll himself. He describes almost a confession of his crimes in general life. Cassidy uses imagery in his poem when he talks about holy venture. There's a surgeon's blade. It cuts both ways, succeeds to Jack the Ripper, which could be the sadistic aspect of Jekyll and the deception. This can be seen as he talks about the way he kills. It's delicate like Jack the Ripper's, and once again, it talks about duality. One side is the reputable Jekyll, which is a known reputable scientist. The other side of the surgeon's blade is the sadistic side of Jekyll, the serial killer. The reason this poem was chosen is because Turner Cassidy put a lot of work into basically summarizing the work from Robert Louis Stevenson's book, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is known worldwide as one of the great Gothic literature books of the 1800s. Similarities to Dr. Death, Harold Shipman, and Dr. Jekyll is Dr. Death was a real life Dr. Jekyll. Even though he killed way more than Jekyll himself, Dr. Death was a real person he, who killed up to 284 people, even though 250 is the accepted number. They both used poison on their patients or victims, and they were both reputable doctors and scientists. Harold Shipman himself was a general practitioner who had decades of experience, and in 3 of those decades, it was used to kill those 200 plus people. The favorite line from the poem is, "As I know them for their applied corruption." This is because it adds an image in your head of what Jekyll decided that his reasoning was to kill his victims. He used poison to kill them, and all because of their own applied corruption that Jekyll saw. I'm going to leave you with 3 questions. How do you think Jekyll is talking? What is his tone? Is it slow and deliberate, or is it almost an enraged, lunatic kind of tone? 2, is there any aspect that you relate to from this poem? And number 3, what's the overall setting of the poem? This has been the strange presentation on Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Jekyll by Turner Cassidy.